Imagine a world powered by invisible engines. Engines that run on data, not gasoline. These engines help your phone understand your voice, create stunning video game graphics, and even teach cars to drive themselves. The company behind many of these engines, Nvidia. Once known mainly to gamers for its powerful graphics processing units, or GPUs, Nvidia's chips have become the gold standard for digital realism. But a decade ago, researchers realized these same GPUs were perfect for artificial intelligence, able to handle the massive, simultaneous calculations AI needs. Suddenly, Nvidia's chips weren't just for play, they became the backbone of the AI revolution. Every major tech company, from Google to Amazon, now relies on Nvidia's technology. Its chips are the brains behind AI systems transforming medicine, finance, and communication. This central role has made Nvidia a key player in a global story about power, competition, and the future. Nations now see access to these chips as vital to their economies and security. In the past, countries competed over oil or steel. Today, it's computational power. Nvidia finds itself caught between the ambitions of world powers, each wanting to secure its technological future. The company's decisions can shift entire industries, and the world is watching. This is the stage for a complex drama at the heart of our digital age. On September 15, 2025, China's main market regulator, SAMR, accused Nvidia of violating anti-monopoly laws, a move that sent shockwaves through the tech world. The investigation, which began quietly in late 2024, was now public, signaling a critical point in China's relationship with Nvidia. The issue? Back in 2020, Nvidia acquired Israeli chip designer Mellanox, but only after promising China it wouldn't use its new power to hurt competition or cut off Chinese companies. Now China claims Nvidia broke that promise by halting sales of its most advanced AI chips to Chinese buyers. Nvidia wasn't acting alone. It was following new U.S. export controls meant to limit China's access to cutting-edge tech. But for China, the reason didn't matter. A commitment was made and supply was cut. The timing was no accident. The announcement came as U.S. and Chinese officials met for trade talks in Madrid. Many saw this as a strategic move in a larger U.S.-China rivalry. Just days earlier, the U.S. had blacklisted more Chinese tech firms. China's move against Nvidia looked like a direct response, a tit-for-tat in the escalating battle for tech dominance. The stage was set for a high-stakes confrontation. To grasp Nvidia's predicament, you need to understand antitrust law. Imagine a neighborhood with many grocery stores. Competition keeps prices low and quality high. But if one supermarket buys all the others, it can set any price it wants. That's a monopoly. Antitrust laws exist to prevent this, ensuring fair competition and protecting consumers. Governments use these laws to review big mergers and block deals that could create monopolies. In 2020, China approved Nvidia's Mellanox deal only after Nvidia promised to keep the market open and competitive. Now China says Nvidia broke those promises by cutting off advanced chips, even if it was following U.S. law. From China's perspective, a broken promise is a broken promise. Nvidia is caught between conflicting demands from two superpowers. The very laws meant to ensure fair play are now tools in a global power struggle. This is how a company can become the battleground for international disputes. The rules of fair play have never been more complicated. The roots of this conflict trace back to Nvidia's $7 billion acquisition of Mellanox in 2020. Mellanox made high-speed networking tech, crucial for connecting powerful GPUs in data centers. Nvidia wanted to combine its chips with Mellanox's networking to dominate the AI market. But global regulators, especially in China, worried this would give Nvidia too much power. China's approval came with strict conditions. Nvidia had to supply products fairly and avoid bundling that hurt competitors. Nvidia agreed, and the deal went through. At the time, it seemed like a win for everyone. But those very promises would become the foundation for China's legal challenge 5 years later. What looked like a strategic victory became a source of vulnerability. The seeds of today's conflict were planted in that deal. Nvidia's clash with China is just one front in a much bigger battle, the U.S.-China race for tech supremacy. For decades, the U.S. led the world in advanced chips, with companies like Nvidia, Intel, and Qualcomm at the helm. But China has poured billions into building its own semiconductor industry, aiming to catch up and eventually lead. The U.S. fears China's tech rise could shift the balance of economic and military power. This rivalry has been called a tech Cold War, a struggle for control over the ideas and hardware that will define the future. The main battlefield? Semiconductors. The US has imposed export controls to keep its most advanced chips, like Nvidia's AI accelerators, out of Chinese hands. For Nvidia, China is a massive market. Losing it would be a huge blow. But as an American company, Nvidia must obey US laws. The result? Nvidia is forced to walk a tightrope, balancing business in China with strict rules from Washington. The stakes are enormous, and the margin for error is razor-thin. This is the new reality for global tech giants. The world's two largest economies are pulling in opposite directions. The road to China's antitrust accusation was paved with escalating moves from both sides. In 2022, the US tightened export rules, cutting China off from Nvidia's most powerful AI chips. Nvidia responded by designing special, less powerful chips for China, just under the US performance limits. But the US soon imposed new restrictions, even on these workaround chips, threatening billions in Nvidia's revenue. Meanwhile, China grew wary, summoning Nvidia officials and raising concerns about security risks in the new chips. Chinese regulators pressured local tech giants, making it harder to use Nvidia's products even when legal. Distrust was growing on both sides. In December 2024, China launched its antitrust investigation, citing Nvidia's broken promises from the Mellanox deal. The public announcement in September 2025 was the culmination of these tensions. By invoking its own laws, China wasn't just retaliating for US export controls, it was sending a message to all multinationals: play by our rules or face consequences. The antitrust probe became China's weapon of choice in this tech standoff. For Nvidia, the pressure was now coming from every direction. The company was caught in a geopolitical crossfire. Every move had global repercussions. The stakes had never been higher. With China's accusation, Nvidia faces real risks. The most immediate threat, a massive fine, up to 10% of its $17 billion in Chinese sales. But the penalties could go further. China could force Nvidia to separate its GPU and Mellanox businesses, undoing its strategic advantage. Regulators might demand Nvidia find a way to supply chips to China, regardless of US export controls. An impossible position. Complying with China could break US law. Defying China could mean a total ban. This legal and political trap threatens Nvidia's global strategy. Investors are already nervous. Nvidia's stock dropped after the news. China accounts for 13% of Nvidia's sales, and its AI market could soon be worth $50 billion. Losing access or facing severe restrictions would be a major blow to Nvidia's future. The company's leadership in AI hardware is suddenly at risk. The outcome could reshape the entire tech landscape. This isn't just a company versus country dispute, it's a sign of a world in transition. For years, globalization let technology flow freely, fueling innovation and growth, but the Nvidia case shows a world fracturing along geopolitical lines. Technology is now a strategic asset, not a neutral tool. We may be heading toward two separate tech ecosystems, one led by the US, the other by China. This split could slow innovation, limit collaboration, and make products less compatible worldwide. Global companies like Nvidia are built for a connected world, but now face conflicting rules and rising costs. They may have to choose sides, losing access to huge markets and talent. The tightrope Nvidia walks today is one many multinationals may face tomorrow. The future of technology and global business hangs in the balance. The choices made now will shape innovation for years to come. The world is watching and the stakes are global. The era of easy cooperation may be ending. This isn't just a distant battle between corporations and governments. It affects all of us. AI already shapes our daily lives, from recommendations to medical diagnoses. If the world splits into rival tech camps, innovation could slow, and devices may become less compatible and more expensive. Imagine not being able to use your favorite app abroad, or needing different gadgets for different countries. This conflict is about more than technology. It's about the rules that keep our world stable. The US-China rivalry is testing those rules to the limit. The choices made now will shape the world our children inherit. Will we have open collaboration or a world divided by digital walls? The fate of one company caught between two giants gives us a glimpse of the future. This story is about all of us and the kind of world we want to live in.